Hello friends, welcome back to Techify tutorial. So we are in the third video of this series, right? So far we have covered two videos. In the first video, we have talked about the overview of the project. And in the second video, we have set up the environment. We have installed all the libraries, all these requirements. And then we are here in the final stage where we'll, we'll code and build a chatbot finally, right? So So here, what you have to do is first you have to import this all requirements, this all libraries. Okay. So you import OS and from .env you import load.env and then load underscore .env, right? So you have already installed this, right? Python.env file, right? Okay. Once you have imported this, right? you will be able to now fetch that API key that you have stored in your .env file, right? So what you have to do is you have to write os.getEnv and whatever name that you have given for your API key that you have to give over here, right? And then API key for this is the API key for Hugging Face, right? Here you have to import some important library like import Streamlit. You have to import this chat Groq because this we are going to use in our this we are going to use for our LLM initiation. And then we have to import this chat prompt from Langchain code.prompts. Here this would be useful for writing this prompt. And then we'll import this vector database FAISS. And then we'll also have to import the CSV loader because um, here through the CSV loader we are going to load this this uh, this CSV file, right? Apple Device underscore CSV, right? And then we also require this HuggingFace embeddings because through this we are going to convert the text into numbers. And this finally we require these two important uh, library where we'll see that how the prompts and LLMs are combined together, and then how the all the documents are linked with the LLM and prompt. And finally, the retrieval class will be able to retrieve the relevant context from that documents and will then feed into LLM, right? So once the LLM receive all these context from as well as the documents, it would be able to generate the responses, right? So first, what you have to do is first this is a simple setup that we usually, or if you want to do it, you could do to make your user interface more attractive. So in the last video, I've seen you how the chatbot works then in the demo. So in the title page, you could write Apple this, and you could also put some Apple icon. And then in the title, you could write Welcome to Apple Device ChatBot, right? So if you see in the side of that interface, we had some instructions. So you could write your instruction here, right? So now the first thing is that you have to load your CSV file, right? So what you do wherever you have installed, wherever you have this CSV file, what you have to do is you have to just copy from from that drive. I mean, you must have kept in your local device, like I have this in my local device, right? So here, right? So you just have to this copy this and you you have to paste it over here, right? Okay, this is simple one. And then and then you have to loader.load. You have to load it, and you store this file into a data variable, right? Now, the first thing is that you have to create this vector store function, right? First is what? You have to create you have to convert the text into embeddings, and then that embeddings would be stored in the FAISS vector database. If you could remember the flow diagram of that, okay? So here what you will do is you create the object of this Hugging Face embeddings, and then from documents, and you pass your data and embeddings, and you finally return this vector stored. Now whatever you have returned here, you are storing again in a variable called vector store, and then in the next step will be to get the retriever, right? And this retriever, so you call this retriever function. What you do is whatever variable you have stored here, database, that you have to write dot as retriever. So you form a retriever object, right? So this object is able to fetch the relevant document from the readable context from that document, right? And then you write some prompt. So basically prompt is what? Prompt is basically you give some instruction to the to your LLM, like how it should behave. So there are different methods of prompting, like we have zero shot prompting, few shot prompting, contextual prompting, then chain of thought prompting. So here in this example, I have used few shot prompt, where what you do is you provide some examples and answer also, right? So you give some questions and answer. So you typically what you are saying essentially is key here. This is the questions, right? And you have to respond in this manner, right? In this way, right? And this I have taken from my data set, right? So I have taken one question and its answer, right? I have shown example to this LLM, that you have to behave in this manner. You have to give the responses in this manner only, right? And then you also provide some context, right? And these contexts would be different. Here, I have kept the answer, I mean, the same answer as in the context, right? So, and finally, I have also instructed that if you don't know the answer, then simply write, I don't know. So, if you write any arbitrary things or anything that is not related to this chatbot Apple devices, so it will simply say that I don't know, right? So that you could specify here. And then I have also made it some more flexible, like I have instructed that key you could be make your answer more creative, but it should be contextual, right? And then here, what you do is you provide your placeholder for the context. So whatever context you remember, whenever the user asks some query, that query is compare from the vector database, and the relevant data or the related data is then fetched, right? That context is given here, and whatever the user is asking query, that query would be given in this placeholder, right? So this is all about prompt, right? Once you write this prompt, now you call this function chat prompt template, and from template, and then you pass your prompt template, you are storing in a form, right? Now here, next is what you are writing some subheader chat setting, and next you are also given an option for the user to adjust his temperature. So you could remember in the side we had temperature slider, right, where you could keep your temperature accordingly, right? So from this code you could get that slider, right? Now, once you have this, now let's initiate the language model, right? So, if you remember, we have used this chat Groq. So, and from where we have to give this API key model name, we are using Gamma 2 language model, and in temperature, there is a temperature parameter where you have to give this temperature value, right? Okay. So once you initiated your language model, now you have to have the things like if user asks some input, right? So here, what you are giving is you are giving a place where user could ask any things, right? So st.text input here you are asking that here you are saying that ask me queries related to Apple device, right? So here if some user put some queries, that queries would be stored in user input, right? And now in the next line, this is the most important line of this chatbot. Here you are saying that if user has made some input, right? User has given some queries. So then what you have to do is first you have to call this function create a stop document chain. This is a kind of chain which combines the documents and this prompt with the LLM, right? Next is the retrieval, right? So you remember we have to make the retriever object. We have already made the retrieval object. Now we have to make the create retrieval chain. These assure that this retrieval class, fetch the relevant document from these doc chains. And these doc chains is nothing but whatever you have linked, whatever you have combined your documents here with the prompt, right? So along with the prompt, whatever you have combined your documents here, that would go in the doc chains, right? So you remember so you remember how the things goes like. So from the retrieval class, the relevant document is fetched from the document, and along with the prompt and user queries, these things are then fed into LLM. So now here in the last line, we are saying we are invoking this retrieval chain dot invoke, and in the input key, we are giving this user input. So remember, these input key would be same as here, whatever you have given as the input, right? And this user key would be the same as what you have given here, right? Because this is your user input, right? So in this variable, you are receiving the query of the user. So, and finally, what you're doing is you are displaying the result of answer. If you only return the result here, what you get is you get the context as well as you get the answer, right? But what we have to get is we have to only receive this answer, right? So that's why we have written result of answer, right? So in this manner, what we have is you could get your answer, right? So if I summarize these things, right, and finally you could add some footer, you could you could decorate your chatbot, you know, in any way you want, right? So basic thing was that you understand the flowchart, right? So we first uploaded your CSV file. Then what you did is you created embeddings. That embedding was stored in a vector database. Then you have written some instruction that would go to the LLM, right? The LLM will behave according to this instruction. And then what you're doing is you are you are combining all the documents, and finally what you're doing is whatever contacts information that you have, along with that contacts information, I mean the along with the user queries and contacts information, what you are going in, you are finally giving that things to the LLM, and on looking at the queries and the context, LLM is able to generate the responses, right? So this is how these things work, and this is known as your retrieval augmented generation based application, right? So that's all about this, right? This was a simple project, um, but if you have any questions or queries, could drop in the comment box, right? I'll give the link of this code as well as data sets, everything in the description, right? So you could go and check it out, and you try to make this project on your own, right? So that's all about this, right? Here you could see there are different Python file. You don't have to worry about this. You don't you simply ignore this, right? you only concentrate on chatbot.py, right? So this is the only um, um, file that you have to concentrate on, right? So that's it. And finally, I mean, once you complete this, right, don't forget that you are in the same environment, right? Yesterday we have seen how to activate our virtual environment, and once you do this, you simply write Streamlit run your uh, chatbot.py, so your Python file name, and you press enter. So it will run in the this local host, right? So it will take some time. Why? Because here what you are doing is you are finally, so you have to create the embeddings, and so in the first time only it will take the time. Uh, and if you write the question once it's created the embeddings and everything else. So then if you search some queries, it would be able to it would be able to give the response in very quick time. So and for that reason, what we have done is right. So you don't have to load every time. So here you see we have written this at the rate st.catch resource. So this ensure that you don't have to rerun the entire process again and again, right? So that's how this work. Now you could say they are it's creating the vector store. It means it's creating the embeddings and is storing the vector database. Once this is done, now you give your queries, and this bot would be able to generate the response based on your queries and the context, right? So that's all about this project. Hope you enjoyed this, right? And if you have any questions or comment, you could also drop in the chat box. Sorry, drop in the comment box, right? So thank you all, and we'll soon meet in the next project, and that project will also be related to the generative AI. We'll see some more interesting project, end-to-end project, right? So that's all about this. Thank you, guys.